Welcome to the Wellness Surge podcast with Dr. Adiola Oke. Each week, we discuss our wellness journey with real people like you and me. We have conversations about food, fitness, mental health, financial wellness, and much more, so you can get back to the real you. To make sure that you're up to date with this and other wellness topics, visit wellnesssurge.com. Information presented here is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. Please do not apply any of the information presented here without first speaking with your primary care provider. Now, let's head on to the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wellness Surge podcast. My name is Dr. Adiola Oke, and today I have Mrs. Hiidoon Muili with me. Say hello to everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Alrighty. So today we're going to be talking about the havoc that stress and sleep deprivation can cause on your mental well-being. So let me say that again. What havoc do stress and sleep deprivation cause on your mental well-being? So I'm just going to introduce Mrs. Hiidoon to you really quickly. She is a licensed clinical social worker. She's also a licensed chemical dependency counselor and mental health advocate. She works for a major health provider in the state of Texas as a member of the psychiatric response team. This is a mobile psych response team that provides evaluation and crisis intervention to individuals who present to the emergency room with psychiatric emergencies. Wow. She owns Bloom Child and Family Services, and an agency which provides case management to children and pregnant women, as well as psychological counseling across the lifespan. She's a strong promoter of culturally sensitive mental health, knowing that each culture possesses unique strengths that can help to build resilience and healing in individuals. Right? We all need that. So using her life experiences, she's able to empathize with others and continuously strives to encourage and motivate others to identify and fulfill their full potential. Awesome. When I read that, I was like, whoa, I need some of that in my life.
Don't we all? Yeah.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, thank you, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all you do. I watch your show. I love everything that I see, and I hope that people learn a thing or two just from listening and sharing experiences.
Thank you. I hope so. So I learn a couple of things when I come on here, actually. Like when I invite somebody, I want to learn. And I feel like if I want to learn, I'm sure other people want to learn too. So
Absolutely.
I think it's like a win-win thing. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty, okay? So what goes in our body? What goes in our body? Everybody experiences stress, right? We all know, I'm stressed, I'm this, I'm that. But what is going on in our body when we're experiencing the stress?
Well, I guess this is a very common topic. Everybody talks about stress. Stress seems to be the most common thing with every human being, and especially with the COVID pandemic and everything, everybody's stressed. So I will start by defining stress, I guess, and then I'll go on to your question after that. So stress is defined as a feeling of emotional and physical tension. So when you think about how you feel when you are about to face a dangerous situation, or you have a tight deadline, or, sometimes even when a good thing is happening, you feel that tension in your body, and it is the body's reaction to a challenge or demand. And these demands may be internal or external. So stress can be internal, which may have to do with maybe if you have a chronic health issue, maybe heart problem, or something to do with your internal organs. And stress can be external, and a lot of us are more used to the external stress. It comes from factors such as conflict, war, danger, work demands, child rearing demands as well.
You can say that again.
Yeah. Everything these days, almost everything can cause stress in our lives. So in the short term, though, stress is good because stress pushes us to achieve things. So if you have an exam coming up and you're stressed, that's somewhat a good kind of stress, because it pushes you to study hard, it pushes you to meet those deadlines, it pushes you to do what you need to do. Stress was actually originally meant to, create the fight or flight instinct in us, So it helps you run away from danger and it helps you stay safe. However, a lot of times the stress that we feel is long term, which is called the chronic stress. So the acute is the short term and the chronic is the long term. And the long term stress is the one that is really problematic and the one we need to avoid. So to answer your question specifically, stress disturbs the immune system. It disturbs the cardiovascular system. So it has to do with the heart and, your nervous system, digestive. Long-term stress pushes your body to its limits and it affects your sleep and ultimately your mental health. So mental health is hugely impacted by long-term stress.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, all the other things you said, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. Sleep, all that stuff, but like affecting your mental health is something I never really put together, but I'm like just starting to understand it. So how does this stress affect our sleep? Like you say, it affects sleep, it affects mental health. How does it do this?
Okay. So answer this question, I usually try to use an analogy. So when we look at science and the human body, stress is, like I earlier said, an emotion that's supposed to push us to the fight or flight response. So it's actually meant to alert us that there's danger coming. And when that happens, when your system is on the alert, it tells you that danger is coming and it sends blood, it sends, messages, without trying to use scientific terms here. It sends messages to your limbs, to your heart to beat faster, to your legs and hands to equip you to run away from the danger. And it just wakes up your nervous system to prepare you to either fight that danger or to flee from it. So your body is all charged up and ready to face the danger. Now, when it becomes chronic, it means that your body is unable to shut off that response. So typically when you run away from danger and you're safe, your body should be able to tell you, okay, the danger is over now. Calm down, rest your heart, take it easy, all is well. Unfortunately, when the stress it goes from acute to chronic, then it means your body is consistently in that fight or flight mode. Your body is consistently activated to either flee or to fight. And so your body is not able to get back to that restful phase, which is the natural thing that it should do. And that affects your sleep because you go and lay down to sleep, but you can't sleep because you're still in that heightened state of tension. And yeah, it just keeps, doing that and it just degenerates from there. So when you're unable to shut down your brain, then you can't sleep. And then when you can't sleep, that means your brain hasn't had time to rest and relax and recharge. And, mental health issues start to come from there.
I can totally see that. I'm just thinking about like way back in the days when our ancestors, right? They will like say like a lion was chasing them, right? All the senses are on. You cannot sleep. So it's just like if you really think about it, it makes sense. Like, but I guess I did sit down to think about it, like, this stress I'm being going through, stress that you're going through. Like if I'm stressed, if I don't take the time that my body requires to just shut it all off, then it's not good for me because it's going to start to affect other things because I'm constantly on mode instead of off mode, right?
Right.
It totally makes sense. So so because you're talking about like stress affecting the sleep and all that and mental well-being, is it doing anything to our brain? Like, should we be aware of that? Is this stress like causing any changes in our brains and how the brain works?
For sure. Surely, it does affect our brains. So stress leaves a long-term effect on our brains in the sense that, like I said earlier, your brain doesn't shut off. So you remain in a hypervigilant state. I think that's the best term to refer to that. So you're constantly vigilant. Your brain is constantly looking for that stress and that danger. Where is it coming from? Is it coming from here? Is it coming from there? You may not physically be aware that you're doing this, but you can't deceive the mind. So the mind is constantly scanning the horizon, checking for the danger, where is it coming from? And so it starts to affect your digestive system as well. It starts to affect your nervous system. You get rattled easily, you get irritable, little sounds trigger you, things like that, and it keeps just adding on and adding on and adding on. And basically, when your brain doesn't shut down and it's constantly working, endorphins and, all the feel-good hormones that you have are kind of shut down. So at that time, usually at the time that you're expecting this danger, your body's shutting down happy emotions, shutting down digestive, shutting down all other main body functions, because you need to focus on that fight or flight. So if you're constantly in that state, your brain is constantly charged up, your brain is constantly working, and it just can't come back to, emotional regulation basically is off. So you can't be emotionally regulated, and you're just constantly in the state of go, 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 go.
And the people around you are not going to be liking you
because of course not. Of course not.
You're not emotionally regulated. You're highly irritable. Sounds bother you. Please get rid of this person from.
Yes.
It's like sometimes my husband like, I think you need a break right now.
You
need a vacation.
Yes.
Would you like to just go out and just do something? Yes.
When you start to hear things like that, when you start to hear people around you say things like that, it means they're kind of noticing that
you need a break.
Is not quite right.
Something is not right.
You definitely need a break.
Yeah, okay. Alrighty. So, because we're talking about sleep, right? Sleep is such a big deal. It's associated with so many like diseases and stuff like that, right? So, how much sleep do we need per night? Is there like a number, or is it the quality or the quantity?
Generally, sleep. We all need sleep. That's that's a baseline for everyone. We all need sleep. However, our sleep needs are generally determined by several factors. And the most important factor is biology, your human makeup. So some people, I know a few people who have survived, consistently for a few years that I've known them, tend to survive or do very well on 5 hours or 4 hours of sleep. And if you make them sleep longer, it affects them. Some people just can't sleep. So I guess that has to do with their biological makeup. It has to do with, just the way they were created. However, generally the CDC recommends that people monitor or observe or maintain a certain number of hours of sleep per night, and it's usually based on age. So typically 13 to 18-year-olds will benefit from about 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night. And anyone who's between 18 and about 60, which is usually the productive years, 7 hours, anything from 7 hours should do. So the minimum really should be 7 hours. So for 13 to 18 years, 8 hours to 10 hours minimum, which is, I know, wishful thinking for that age group.
I was going to tell my teenagers that, right?
Yes. And then for the productive years, about 7 hours minimum. However, as we grow older as well, sleep needs tend to reduce, just because the older you get, in a lot of cases, the less active you are, and the more you tend to doze during the day here and there. You get quick naps here and there. And so at night, you're not that tired anymore, so you probably don't sleep so much. But it's still recommended that older adults still maintain about 7 hours of sleep nightly. Now, the problem comes where the teenagers who we expect to sleep 8 to 10 hours are so busy doing things that they shouldn't be doing at bedtime. And so their sleep is reduced, and, it just gets downhill from there. So in that age group, they are typically more on their phones. It's harder to get them to, put away their phones and go to bed. They're up chatting at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And of course, that affects their sleep cycle. Coupled with the fact that they have books, their school, whether it's online or face-to-face right now, there's still, the school demands. And so we're seeing in the mental health field that a lot of teenagers are, developing mental health issues. And one of the biggest factors is the fact that they are not getting enough sleep.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That just hit home right now. Makes sense. My kids, they're upset that we take their phone away from them at night. And they're like, what's wrong with you? I'm not a kid. Why can't we? This American children. But I totally get it. So I
Yeah.
can understand because, people, they don't like it. They don't like it
Mm-hmm.
because they don't get to chat with their friends. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, that totally makes sense. All
Mm-hmm.
right. All right. Okay. So because I'm like one of those people that I cannot sleep for so long. And if
Mm-hmm.
you like, if it's like, what's wrong? Like, am I sick? Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
somebody else I know, other people, they can sleep for long, and you're like,
Right.
is
Right.
something wrong with
Right.
me, or is this them?
Right.
So it's
Right.
just, I guess it's like the quality of the sleep, right? Like
Yes.
how do you feel when you wake up? It's
Yes.
like not how
Yes.
long did I sleep, but how did I feel?
I
How
woke up.
well rested do I feel when I get up, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the quality, so as much as the CDC is recommending a certain number of hours for people to sleep, the quality does matter. So if you sleep for 10 hours and you wake up and you're not rested, then the quality has been compromised. So you are not as energized as you should be going into your day just because you're not just, refreshed as you should be. So for people like you who don't sleep a lot, naturally, as long as you can be energized on the few hours that you can get, I would say that's the optimum. That's what we're aiming for. There's certain situations where people have sleep too much. That's associated with depression sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
hypersomnia, where people just sleep and sleep and sleep. That is not always normal or natural. It's not something that we want to encourage just because hypersomnia in itself may be a symptom of depression. So if you're around people who are sleeping too much, you may think, oh, well, they just like to sleep, but sometimes you need to dig deeper. There may be something else, you know, because with depression, there's a loss of motivation and you just don't want to wake up and face the world. And all you want to do is just stay in bed and rest and sleep. But you're sleeping, but you're not really resting because your brain is all over the place. So those are
Mm-hmm.
things also we need to pay attention to.
Oh, wow, 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 wow. Oh, that's really good information right there. So thank you. Okay. So what can we do? We know we need to sleep, but what can we do to make sure that we get some restful sleep every night?
Well, there are several factors or several things that can help to improve sleep. And I guess the one of the biggest things that helps with sleep, even though in some people they say it's counterproductive, is exercise. Exercise helps no matter what anybody says. So exercise, there's a popular school of thinking or school of thought that feels that you only exercise when you want to lose weight. And if you don't have a weight problem, why exercise, right?
Yeah.
But that's a myth that needs to be challenged because everybody needs exercise. There's an adage that says a body at sleep stays asleep or a body at rest stays at rest, but a body in motion stays in motion. So we need to be able to balance that. So if our bodies are constantly at rest and there's no motion, that also is a negative thing. So we want to be able to engage in exercise, if no matter how light it is. We want to be able to exercise during the day because exercise in itself, apart from regulating your emotions and releasing those happy hormones, those endorphins, apart from doing that, it also tires you out. So when you exercise, then your body is tired and then you can sleep or you want to get some rest. But if you're not exercising and, your body doesn't really get tired. And so it may be harder for you to sleep if you have just been lazing around all day and you haven't really challenged your body. So exercise is very important. It promotes sleep. Secondly, there's something known as sleep hygiene. So sleep hygiene means, imbibing or employing those practices that promote sleep. So good, helpful sleep hygiene tips may be turning off your phone about an hour to half an hour before you go to bed. That way the disruption and, just the mental work that goes with going through your phone is minimized. Your brain starts to take a break, before you actually go down to lay down and sleep. Sleeping in a room that is, that has low light, so not a brightly lit room, but, low light, and making the room comfortable and cozy enough. So not too hot, not too cold, just the right temperature for you. And it differs, some people want a room that's extremely cold, some want a room that's warm, but just ensuring that your room is, conducive for sleep, you know. And then meditation, prayer is one important thing. So if you have a schedule, a sleep routine where you know that I pray for 30 minutes or I pray for 15 minutes and then my body goes to sleep from there, your body starts to get used to that schedule. So when you start to pray, your body is a signal to your body that you're winding down for the day. So meditation helps you shut out a lot of mental stimuli that you've had all day, and your body starts to calm down and start to focus, more on, being calm and shutting off eventually. So that also helps. Then practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness is just being aware of the now and the present, being here and now. Mindfulness is something we all need to practice at every time, but especially at bedtime. So you need to talk to yourself. It's bedtime now. I need to be asleep now. So my body needs to focus on here and now. How am I feeling? What am I seeing around me? What am I touching? Just ground yourself and be aware of the now. So those little tips just help, but it's not a magic bullet. It doesn't happen overnight, but, gradually your body still starts to get the signal and you can wind down and sleep.
Very good. Wow, that was comprehensive. Thank you. Thank you. Sleep, exercise. You want to sleep? Exercise. It's counterintuitive, but yes, it makes sense. Wow, that was very comprehensive. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mindfulness, meditation. People usually think meditation, you need to be doing something, but just prayer is a form of meditation.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really good. That's really, really good. Thank you. All righty. So we've talked a lot today, and it has been a very, very productive conversation. I must say so myself. So what is one thing that you want to make sure that people take away from this conversation today, even if they kind of like blow up on every other stuff?
Well, parting shots for me would be two main things. If you don't remember anything else that we talked about today, do remember that stress, prolonged stress, chronic stress is bad for your health. It does nothing good for you. Prolonged stress does very bad things. Prolonged stress affects your digestive system. It affects your mental health. It affects your nervous system. It makes you even difficult to be around. People don't want to be around you because you're so grouchy, because you're so sleep deprived. So stress is something that we need to take care of. And if you have to see a mental health practitioner, please do. If you need to see a therapist, if you need to talk to someone, take care of it. But remaining in a constant state of stress is very, very bad for your health. That's one. Secondly, sleep and mental health are closely linked together. The more you take care of your sleep, the better overall your mental health becomes, just because they are so closely linked. Sleep deprivation is very bad for the body because your brain needs time to shut down, and when you do not sleep enough, your brain cannot shut down. It's like a cell phone that, sometimes you have to just shut it down to restart it and it fixes itself. So our brains are like that. So if we can't shut down, then we can't, reboot and, things like that. So those are the two things for me that we need to always remember.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you. She's Auntie Hiidoon to me. So she's like, has a very special place in my heart. So I've known her since for a very, very long time. So thank you for all those tips. We appreciate it. How can people get a hold of you after this show? Well, if they want to know more about like your Bloom Child and Family Services, if you have something online that they could, stuff like that,
Okay. Well, I practice in the Houston area, and so anyone who's around the Houston metro area can contact me. I'll have my phone number. I guess you can have it at the end of the show where they can reach me at. I have an email address that they can contact me at, and I'm on Instagram as Bloom Child and Family Services. So you can follow me. I leave tips there, updates, just little snippets here and there about mental health because that's my passion. So you're welcome to get in touch.
Very good. So is it just is are your counseling services available to only those in Houston, or is it the whole state of Texas? So do you have online services too, or is it just face to face?
Well, I haven't totally set up the online service. One of the good things about the pandemic, that's not to say the pandemic is a good thing, but one of the good things about the pandemic is the fact that we now know that we can offer services virtually and we don't have to see each other face to face, to help each other. So I'm in the process of setting up, my online services so I can reach people who are outside the Houston area. But for now, I mostly see people face to face.
Okay, very good. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear, because like everything this day and age, we're doing it online, and if we can help and reach so many people online, why not, right? Yeah. Why not? So thank you so much, Auntie Hiidoon. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Welcome. I learned a lot. So everybody, I hope you also got a chance to learn a few things from Auntie Hiidoon. Make sure you turn on your notification and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss an episode. Alrighty? Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening and sharing your precious time with us. If you enjoyed the show, then follow us and subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, or any app that carries podcasts. Have an awesome week. Best wishes to see you thrive.